Yo, what up? Good to see you. Um, I was just talking to a founder today, somebody at Barometrics. Barometrics is a great company, by the way, if you're looking for uh, data on how to optimize your plans and pricing strategy. Anyways, we had a conversation, and one thing that I noticed a lot is in in the SaaS world is that organic traffic seems to be this badge of honor. Like I've been able to grow my company organically without spending any money on paid ads, or I've been able to grow my company on referrals only. I haven't spent a dime on paid ads. What's interesting is and you might disagree with this, but I don't think you have a real company unless if you're only growing on organic. If you don't have a scalable acquisition strategy to bring in new customers anytime you want, isn't that really like what? Isn't that really? Shouldn't that be the badge of honor? Shouldn't it be? We can spend $100,000 on ads and make $200,000 in revenue, um, and we can do that consistently. Versus we get tons and tons of organic traffic, but we don't convert a lot of it. A lot of it's like trash traffic. We can't figure out where the traffic is coming from. We have no control over how much traffic we're getting. And so I have my advice to you if you're doing organic is what I call the ICP system. And what my suggestion is here's how we solve that problem is if you've been growing organically, that's awesome. I mean, that's fantastic. But you're going to hit a point where you just can't scale anymore. Organic growth is going to plateau because you only have so much control over who visits your site if you're creating content. Some of that content is going to bring in qualified people, and a lot of it's going to bring in people that aren't qualified. So, what you really want to do is be able to bring in qualified traffic whenever you want. So, if you have that struggle, here's what I would suggest. First, look at all of your customers that have been paying you and identify who's been paying you the most and who's been with you the longest. Okay, then put them on a list. Just write them down. Then I would call them up, Zoom them, get them on the phone, and I would say, "Hey, we appreciate you as a customer. You're one of our best customers, and we just want to figure out how you're using our tool." And I would go through a series of questions. We have a process called the deep dive interview sheet, and it's the questions that you need to ask to someone to figure out why they're your best customer. One of the few questions we ask are, what was the problem that you came to us to solve? How much was that problem costing you in time, money, and resources? And what impact has our tool had on your business? The biggest impact that you can see. What you're looking for is customers who say, "I cannot survive without your tool. I absolutely need it. Everything else I've tried hasn't worked," because you're trying to identify who your ideal customers are. And then once you identify your ideal customer, then your goal is to go find more of those people. It sounds pretty obvious, right? When you're dating, when you're doing any type of dating, if you're single, or if you're married, like if you just wait for your spouse to come find you, that's not a very good dating strategy, right? If you just go to the mall or go to the mall, that kind of dates how old I am. Or I don't know, where do you guys hang out now to meet people? Is it like the virtual bars? I don't really know. If you just sit there and wait for the beautiful girl to come talk to you, it's probably not going to happen. I know this from experience. But if you know who you want to go after, and you know what they want out of a spouse, and you go find them, and you say, "Hey, I noticed you're reading that book. I love psychology. Have you read this book? Da 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 da." Start a conversation with them, and then move them into your funnel, which is your conversion process. you are going to be able to grow much, much faster than if you depend completely on organic traffic. So anyways, let's go back to the framework. Identify who your best customers are. Look at why they've been around for so long. And then what we do is we find congregation points. So where are they hanging out? What books are they reading? What people do they follow? What were the hot buttons that brought them in? And then we put those hot buttons, which are hooks, and then we use that as a way to find more of them, more customers. So my strategy is we go after partners, called the Dream 100 strategy. So we find someone who already has built your audience, and then we put our product in front of them, and then get them to be advocates and also integrate their product into their service. And you can do it one-on-one too. You can do it with ads, and you can do it pretty cheaply. Facebook is not the only way to advertise, people. There's other means to get your product out there that are less expensive than Facebook. And so with the right hook, you can bring the right person in, and your goal is to be able to cover your costs quickly, right? So anyways, identify your best customers, find out where they hang out, find out what their hot buttons are, what are the things that attracted them to your product, use those hot buttons to attract more people, more ideal clients, and then bring those people in. So I hope that makes sense. No offense to any of you who are just like gung-ho on organic traffic, but man, if you are only using organic traffic to grow your business, you're eventually going to hit a point where you are no longer growing, or you're just struggling. And that's where having a paid strategy or a scalable strategy, it doesn't necessarily have to be paid. It needs to be a scalable growth strategy that allows you to bring in new customers, your perfect customers, at will without having to depend on organic. Cool. Hope that was helpful for you. If this is good, or if you liked it, like it, please, or love it, or hate it. Put a comment below, and it's good hanging out with you today. We'll see you later.